Hey, this is Matt. Once again, we're about to another video, and this is another paid request, this time for Guillermo. Thank you so much for that. For those interested, requesting any type of videos, random thoughts, streams, commentaries, video game playthrough for an hour, a full playthrough, tier list, ranking, movie review, re-review, random thoughts, streams, whatever the case may be. PayPal's the best way to do it. Do have a CashApp as well. Links are down below in the info box, and I will get to them as soon as I possibly can. Now, Guillermo wanted me to look at Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters that came out 2013. Now, I have seen this film before, and what's funny, this is another one of those films I can mention that when I first saw it, I'm like, it's okay, whatever. And then I saw it probably 3-4 years after. I'm like, oh, you know what, I actually like this. This is what I thought was fun for what it is. It's not groundbreaking or anything, but for little bit of a bigger budget film that come out in theaters, and I liked it more than Abraham Lincoln Vampire, because that was the time where you had the Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, and there was a direct-to-video one, and then there was a theatrical one. I didn't like either one, and okay, it is silly, but I thought this had a fun energy to it. I thought the two leads did a rather good job. It goes at a pretty good pace. It does have some pretty decent gore. And honestly, I would say when they did the Hellboy film, well, okay, let me back up. When the guy who did The Descent and Dog Soldiers, he did the Hellboy film. But then you found out that it was taken away. It's not really his film. I have to specify that because there's been another Hellboy film, was The Crooked Man. Whatever the hell, I've never seen that one. It looked like cheap direct-to-video trash, but I've never seen it, to be fair. But the one that they tried to do the reboot, I was not a fan of that movie. This, to me, is what that film tried to do, but this film did it better. Because I thought this film, with using those kind of fairy tale, at times, creatures and making a blood and guts movie, and this one I thought it had more of a consistent tone. It didn't feel like it was pulling in 5 different directions. This one I thought was a bit more focused, and I like these two more than David Harbour as Hellboy. So, speaking of which, Tommy Wirkola, who directed this, did Violent Night, which starred David Harbour, so there you go. He also did Dead Snow and Dead Snow 2, which I did like the sequel. Dead Snow 2 was fun. That had an energy like Evil Dead 2. And I'm assuming those films is what helped him get this. And Violent Night I didn't mind. I don't love Violent Night. I think it has its issues. I think it takes a bit too long to get going, and I wish there was more action. And I'm not the biggest David Harbour fan, but I thought he's fine in that role, to be fair. But I liked Violent Night. Just as years are going on, I like David Harbour less and less. Just one of those things. Anyway, getting back to this. Jeremy Renner and Gemma Arterton star as Hansel and Gretel. Jeremy Renner I've always enjoyed as an actor. Always liked him as an actor. I always thought, I think the first time I saw him in was National Lampoon's Senior Trip. Let's do some van damage. I remember him in that. I really liked him in The Hurt Locker. He was good in 28 Weeks Later. I did not like what they did with his character, but I know that was the point. And he was good as Hawkeye, especially in Age of Ultron. I did not see his show because it seemed like he wasn't the star of his own damn show. They were trying to make room for this other female Hawkeye, and then they try to bring him back for another show, and it's like, well, we're going to pay you half. And he's like, why? Am I half the man? And this is like after his accident, so I don't blame him for saying no and telling him to piss up a rope. But again, I always liked Jeremy Renner, so I thought it was cool that he got the star in this film. And Gemma Arterton, she was in Quantum of Solace. She did good. She did a very complimentary job. Her and Jeremy worked well together. I bought them as brother and sister. We see them as kids, and they are set out in the woods by their parents, and they find the candy hut, and you have the witch, and there's some nice makeup on the witch, practical. We see the two kids working together, and they kill the witch. And then we see this kind of montage done in kind of a storybook form. How they grew up, they found a village, they became witch hunters, and now they're known as famous witch hunters. And they come across this village where Peter Stormare, which he was the devil in Constantine, he was an 8mm, you've seen him in a bunch of stuff. He is ready to hang this woman because they think it's a witch, and Hansel and Gretel goes, wait a minute. They check her over. She's not a witch, so you just be hanging an innocent person. Your mayor did the right decision, hired us. We're going to find this witch who's kidnapped some of your children. There's about 10, 11 kids have been kidnapped. You find out it's this whole thing where Famke Janssen, who I remember from Deep Rising with Tree Williams, she was in the House on Haunted Hill remake from 1999. She was Jean Grey in the original X-Men films. Always liked her as an actress. She was also in the Taken films as the ex of Liam Neeson's character. She is the head witch. And her and the other witches want these 12 kids, something about a blood moon, and if the ritual goes right and goes successful, then they will be immune to being burned. And pretty much they could be immortal. Not the same, but it kind of reminded me of the plot of Blade, where in that one it was, they weren't kidnapping people, but to do this whole ritual so that they could go out into the sunlight. Anyway, our team, our duo, have to go find the witch, kill the bitch, save the day, save the kids, then and there. Now, it is a film that I thought it does go at a pretty good pace. It does have at times a bit of a modern sense of dialogue. Like one of them says, I'll blow your sheriff's brains over these fucking hillbillies if you don't let them go. It's definitely a movie that is supposed to take place in the day and age of, I don't remember what year, but you know, the day and age of yesteryear. But yet the weapons definitely seem more modern. It's fantasy. Either you go along with the fantasy or you don't. I was having fun. It's not meant to be taken seriously. It's definitely, at times, a little bit tongue-in-cheek. I mean, the gore is very over the top. The gore is very big and loud, which made sense because this guy came from lower-budget horror films like Dead Snow 1 and 2, so he followed that through. So one of these people that tried to hunt Famke Janssen, he comes back and he's been put under this spell where he had to keep eating bugs. And like Hansel and Gretel kind of know what's happening, but the others don't. So I like that Jeremy Renner, he takes the guy and moves it in front of him. And the guy explodes and blood goes over the walls and floors and everybody else, but Jeremy Renner hit himself. And like Gretel just kind of ready to spit the damn blood out of her mouth. At one point, Famke Janssen rips someone's brains out. Or there's a bit where she does a spell, and in the background you see the person's made to blow their heads up. Yes, at times there are CGI gore, but there's some like practical effects. There's some practical makeup on the witches. There's mainly, mainly 3 witches. You do see others at the beginning and end as well. And I thought it's one of those films that it's not a game changer. It's not a film that's going to be remembered in the eons of cinema. But if you like bloody, fun times that have decent amount of action, I thought the 2 leads were likable. I think they worked well off each other. You have the young guy who's a fan of theirs and eventually becomes their ally. You have this big troll who works with the evil witch, actually played by Derek Mears, who would go on to, well, actually by this time had played Jason in the reboot of Friday the 13th. He'd done other stuff. I mean, you can't recognize him because it's like a big suit, but that was cool still that Derek Mears played him. Cool looking practical suit on this troll. Eventually he becomes an ally. Yeah, at times the CGI is pretty bad. Like, there's a bit where there's some good practical at points where, for example, Jeremy Renner's dragged through the trees because he hooked a witch, and you see him being dragged, and they're doing a lot of that practically. But then there's another point where he's being dragged and he's lifted higher and he falls, and as he's fallen into the trees during nighttime, and it's a really bad CG backdrop of him falling. Him going, ah, one of those things. So not all the effects are too great. But it does have an energy to it. Honestly, this is kind of what I wanted out of Van Helsing with Hugh Jackman. I don't despise that film, but I think because I really liked Hugh Jackman, but it has a lot of issues. What that film, I think this film did what I wanted that film to be. So, while Van Helsing I could watch, I have a lot of issues with, what I wanted out of that film, I got out of this film. That similar time period where you have hunters with these crazy gizmos, crossbows, Jeremy Renner has this cool shotgun. Like, they're cool, but they're antiquated, but at the same time, you have to use your imagination. Let's say, okay, it's old style weapons, but they do some of this cool stuff. At one point, Gretel's crossbow can kind of swerve left and right and shoot at the side and then come back. It's stuff like that which I thought was cool. There's even a bit where someone gets a minigun, like one of those old like miniguns, just tearing through witches. And I do like that at times they do use practical. It's not 100% CGI. Now, granted, in my viewpoint, I wish it was 100% practical, because I think that's better than CG. Even though the 20th of practical will still have more charm than CG, but I do like there's at least some practical. So like when the minigun's used, there's some CG, but there is some bits of squibs and practical. Whether, I think like Jeremy Renner takes one and uses it as a to push her into it, and others witches are getting killed. Jeremy Renner's using his shotgun to kill witches. I didn't mind the girl who played, I think her name was Mina, which you find out stuff about her. Jeremy Renner saved her at the beginning of the film, and they have a little bit of a love connection throughout. You find out some stuff about her. And they don't put one over the other. They don't make it where Jeremy Renner's better than Gemma, or Hansel's better than Gretel, Gretel's better than Hansel. Oh, the guy's useless, so the girl has girl power and she's a superpower. Or no, it's all about the man. They really do work as a team. They are equals. They do show merit in what each of them do. And they do get beat up. There's a point where Peter Stormare's guys are ready to assault Gretel sexually. So it is an R-rated film. And the troll comes in, and the troll does some nasty business, which is satisfying. Like I say, if you do have a bloodlust of gore and kills, it does satisfy that. Famke Janssen, I thought she was very natural as the villain. I always liked her as an actress. Again, I thought the two leads worked well together, chemistry-wise. Yeah, some shotgun fun, minigun fun, some fun shooting stuff at the third act of the film. Some decent fights, choreography throughout it. Spoiler alert, the end of the film, it's Hansel and Gretel back at the house that they were at the beginning of the movie when they were kids. and they're both helping each other against Famke Janssen, so they're each getting their moments in. Either him hitting her with a shovel and putting the shovel down, and then Gretel helping, and they both pop the witch's fucking head off, decapitate her ass. Again, working together as a team, because both of them are important. And super spoilers, you find out stuff. You find out that Hansel and Gretel's mom was a good witch, and she had the dad put them out into the woods to save them, to protect them, because the good witch knew that the humans were coming, and she refuses to use her spells against humans, even if it risks her life. That's why Hansel and Gretel are immune to spells. Also, you find out Mina is a witch, but she's a good witch, and she helped heal Jeremy Renner earlier. She's the one maneuvering using the minigun, and she does sadly get killed by the end of the movie. And pretty much by the end of the film, they set up a sequel where they're a new team. Hansel, Gretel, they're joined with the rookie, and they're joined with the troll. And they're like in this desert landscape, and there's like a hideout for a witch. And I would like to have seen a sequel. I think it would have been fun to see what the continuing adventures of these characters would have shaped up. But the film didn't do the best. I mean, did it come out... Why do I want to say January? Because it was January 25th. Not the best place to put a film out. I mean, there's been films that have been out in January. There were hits, to be fair, but it's a film that cost $50 million. It made $55 million in the U.S. It did make $226 million worldwide on a $50 million budget, because it made $170 million foreign. So that is, pretty good. But I think because the U.S. it made so low that, like, if that made, I don't know, if that made maybe 90 million or 100 million, they probably would have said yes to a sequel. But in this case, I'm surprised they didn't try to do direct-to-video sequels, but with different people in it, because they're like, hey, there's a foreign market for this. But yeah, sadly there's no sequel, which is too bad. I think that would have been fun to see. Well, funny enough, in March, Paramount announced that the sequel to the film was in works due to the overseas box office numbers. Everyone feels like as good as the first one is. We can really jack it up to a level with the second one. In September 2014, the director announced that he would not be returning to direct the sequel. I want to do something a little bit different now and not just do sequels. I did write the script and I hope to be involved in it, but yeah, I won't be directing it. Jeremy Renner stated that without the director returning, he would be less likely to return for the sequel. I can understand that, because the guy definitely had... based on Dead Snow 2 and this film, and even bits in Violent Night, he definitely has a certain sense of humor mixed in with the splattery fun and gore. And if another person comes in, it might be hard for them to capture that. August 2015, some guy named Bruno Evelyn would make his feature film debut. And then no word on it since. And even in 2015, Paramount planned a TV series, and that never happened either. So, yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't know what the deal was. I don't know. But I did think it was a fun movie. It was a fun film. Yeah, like I said, it didn't overstay its welcome. It told a story in a bloody fun fashion. Yes, some of the CGI doesn't hold up, but there's at least some good practical stuff and practical gore in there. The action scenes are easy to follow. The leads, they worked well together. And overall, I thought this was a fun movie. I thought this was a fun film. I mean, the story itself about the blood moon, it is what it is. It feels familiar. It's like nothing about the story that really made me go, "Wow, I've never seen that before." Like I said, it at times reminds me a little bit of stuff like Blade and other movies of that genre. But yeah, like I said, the rookie, the kid, he was there. He was fine. Like the actor was fine. I guess maybe with the sequel he would have been allowed more to do. Same with the troll. Like the troll had his moments, and I would like to have seen a few more scenes where the troll, like he's working for the evil witch because his job as a troll is to work with witches. But then you find out that again, technically, Gretel is a witch as well, because she's the daughter of a witch. So that's why he helps her too. Maybe a little bit more of the troll kind of debating, fighting within himself, what to do, who to choose, having doubts. Maybe looking at the kids and having doubts of what he's doing and feeling sorry for the kids, or even maybe a moment where there's a kid trying to be nice to him and he's trying to be nice to the kid, but the witch tells him, like maybe a few more scenes so that when he does finally choose the path of good, it feels a little less. It doesn't. It's not out of the blue. It's not out of the blue, but just spice it up a little bit. Worked on some of the CG effects, or just to me, again, the more practical, the better. But this was fun. It was a fun film. I did enjoy it for what it was. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care, and we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.